Another week and another medical study comes out telling us how bad, how ill-conceived the government's proposed salt reduction plans are. This latest study, just published in JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association, involved a group of 29,000 people and the most accurate determination of sodium consumption. The bottom line was that there was a J-shaped relationship between sodium consumption and all of the cardiovascular events, as you can see from the curve. The optimum level of consumption turned out to be between 4 and 6 grams of sodium, the equivalent of about 10 to 15 grams of salt. Once you consume below that, your risk of cardiovascular death, stroke, myocardial infarction, and hospitalization for congestive heart failure increased considerably. But hang on a minute. The government wants us to go down to between 1.5 and 2.3 grams of sodium, the equivalent to between 4 and 6 grams of salt. That's well into the danger zone. As it is, Americans are eating at the very low end of the safe scale, even a bit below it. And the government wants us to go down even more? What are they trying to do to us? In the past year, we have seen a raft of peer-reviewed medical publications consistently showing the negative impacts of the low government recommendations on salt consumption. There was the paper out of Harvard Medical School which described how low salt diets brought on insulin resistance in healthy people within as short as 7 days. We saw the medical publications out of Australia showing how low salt diets increase the risk of mortality of people with type 1 diabetes, and this paper was followed by another clinical paper showing how low salt diets also contribute to increased mortality in people with type 2 diabetes. We saw the other paper out of Harvard demonstrating that our rates of hypertension have risen considerably while salt consumption has remained completely flat during the last 50 years. That totally destroyed the myth of any possible relationship between the two. In fact, the whole salt deception began to unravel. Papers in highly respected journals referred to the salt myth as a phantom, while others described it as salacious and the largest delusion in the history of public health. The evidence continued to pile up. A major article in the Journal of the American Medical Association showed that low salt intakes resulted in much higher rates of mortality, confirming a string of earlier publications. A very recent publication in the American Journal of Hypertension not only showed how little salt reduction helped, but more importantly, it described in quantitative terms the long list of risks that it increased. No wonder people on low salt diets, the levels that the government is recommending, die in greater numbers than those on regular salt diets. These are not some trumped up figures from computer models that the government likes to use to promote their salt reduction agenda. These are actual studies with real people. Even the Scientific American asked the government to end the war on salt. But they haven't. The FDA is going ahead full stream with the salt reduction agenda, no matter what the scientific and medical evidence says.